Welcome to Loading the Customer Dimension, Part 1. We're going to load the Customer Dimension table here using the SQL Data Tools and Integration Services. And understand this is Part 1 of at least a 2-part, maybe even a 3-part video, depending on what we all run into together here. So first of all, notice I'm in SSIS, and I want to just create some connection managers that I'm going to need. I'll do a new LADB connection, and I will connect to AdventureWorks 2012. I already have that, and I already have a connection manager for 2012 data warehouse. And so I will click new. I'll click OK on that one, and that gives me my 2021. And then I'll do another one. And I already had this one created, but what I'm going to do is delete this one and just show it to you again as if it wasn't there. Okay, so I'll click new, and I want to make a connection to the data warehouse version of AdventureWorks. And so I'll put the name of my server in here. It's VTC SP. I could click the drop down, but it takes too long and I don't want you to have to wait on me. Okay, then I will choose the database name, AdventureWorks DW 2012, and I will click OK, and then I will click OK there. And so notice we have two connections, one to AdventureWorks 2012 and one to AdventureWorks DW 2012. And actually, I don't even need this one. I don't know what I'm thinking about here, because we're going to take data from the AdventureWorks Data Warehouse 2012 and put it into the VTC SP. So I need to create another connection manager to that database. I will create a new one after all. Don't you love it when the instructor tries to confuse you and confuses himself as well? And so now I'll select the database name, and this time I'll choose VTC DW because that's going to be my destination. All right, and so I will click OK, and so now I have my two connection managers. Now we need to think about something here, and let's go out to the SQL Management Studio to think about this. I want to load this table right here. Now, I'm going to load it with information from this table right here. Okay, we're going to use this as a staging table. We've written packages to load data into here, and we've got it in the form we want it, and maybe we want to do some more scrubbing or something, and so now we're going to load it into here, and it'll be ready to use for our data warehouse. So the first thing I need to do is think about the prospects of loading this, and I want to refresh this dimension every time I do a data load, which means I need to truncate the data. Now let's go out to the diagram here, and I want to show you something, and there's going to be a problem that's going to come up, and we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to save us just a little bit of time here. But if I try to truncate this customer table here, it's going to fail. Why is it going to fail? Because if you will notice, I have a primary key that is pointing to some foreign key data here, and it's going to say, wait a minute, you can't orphan this data out here. Okay, so it's not going to let me do that. So before I can truncate this table, I'm going to have to remove this relationship, refresh my customer table, and then add this relationship back. But keep in mind, in the grand scheme of things, what I'm going to do is load every one of my customer date and product dimensions, and then go back and load my fact internet sales. Now, is there an opportunity here for other data warehouse designers to say, well, Ben, I wouldn't do it that way. That's a bad way to do it because and on and on. Yes, there is. And there are pros and definite cons to doing it this way, but I just want to take you through the iterative process and also use it to show you the data conversion task and some other things. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here, and I'm going to do it manually here so that we don't have a problem, and actually I'm going to wait about doing it. We'll do it in just a few minutes. So the first thing that I want to do before I do anything is execute a SQL task. So I'm going to drag that onto my workspace here, and I want to truncate that table in the VTC DW database, right? So there's my execute SQL task. I will right click on it. Actually, I will just double click it. There we go. And I'll click edit. Right click and edit. And notice there's a lot of things I can set here, but the first thing I need to set is my connection type, and what connection do I want? And I want the VTC data warehouse. All right. And then it says what kind of source type, just direct input, and what SQL statement do you want to execute? Well, very simple. I want to truncate table, right? And it's dim customer table. All right, and then I will hit OK. And notice if I parse the query, it says you can't do it since bypass prepare property was set to true. I can just double click that, turn that to false, parse it again. Everything looks good as far as structure of the query, and now I can click OK. Now I can test this portion of it, right? And so I'm going to try to execute this one task and truncate that table. So when I run the package here, I go up here and I click on Start and run in debug mode. This thing's going to start. It's going to run just a second, and then it's going to throw me an error. And you can already guess what that error is going to be. Dude, you're trying to truncate a table that has a relationship with another table, and it's going to fail. Okay, and if I go look at the output window right here and I scroll up, it scrolls down and you can't see anything. It's going to say it failed with the following error. All right, and then I can scroll over to see what that error is. Notice I can't truncate dim customer because it's referenced by a foreign key constraint. Okay, so I've got to go lose that. So I'm going to stop right here. This will be the end of part 1. Join me in part 2 and we'll continue.